Welcome to the platform where the stories weigh a ton. This is where some of the MHSPLA's best tell real stories about what it takes to build themselves and their athletes' programs underneath the bar. I'm your co-host, Chris Whittaker, and we're glad you're here. Before we get started with this week's episode, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe, follow, and leave us a review wherever you listen. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and wherever else you get your podcast. That support helps us continue to grow the show and bring you the conversations that you want to hear right here to the platform. And if you want to support the association and rep the show, head over to the MHSPLA Fourth Wall shop at MHSPLA-shop.fourthwall.com and grab your official MHSPLA and the podcast merch. If you have feedback or a guest suggestion or a topic that you want us to cover, send us an email at info@mhspla.com. Today, we're sitting down with a man who's been a part of the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association for more than 2 decades. Longtime Lake Orion coach and MHSPLA board member, Coach Eric Jennings. He'll be joining Coach Gilliam and myself, along with another MHSPLA board member who knows Coach Jennings better than most, one of his former lifters, Coach Brian Litten. Coach Jennings helped build Lake Orion from a powerlifting program with 8 kids into a perennial contender, including 3 straight boys varsity state championships from 2008 through 2010. But this conversation goes way beyond championships. We talk about the mentors who shaped him, the lifters who became the glue of his program, and the growth of girls powerlifting, how the MHSPLA has evolved, and what he looks for when teaching the squat and how he structures training. And what more than 2 decades of hosting meets has taught him about leadership and delegation. And maybe most importantly, we get into failure and how Coach Jennings learned to help athletes stop being afraid of the weight and trust the work that they've put in, and understand that sometimes failing is exactly what has to happen before you can succeed. There's a lot of history in this one, a lot of coaching, and more than a few good stories. So step up, lock in. The bar's loaded for Coach Eric Jennings in episode number 24. Hit the intro music.
Welcome to the platform where the stories weigh a ton. Squat, bench, dead, we rise as one. Michigan's lifters, this is our home. Turn it up, feel that fold. This is the platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is loaded. We're back for another episode of The Platform, your Michigan High School Powerlifting Association podcast. I'm your co-host, as always, Coach Chris Whittaker, Dexter High School, Iron Dread Strength and Conditioning, Iron Dread Powerlifting. I have with me 3 other individuals today. First is our Executive Director of the MHSPLA and full-time co-host of the Platform podcast, Coach Chris Gilliam. Coach Gilliam, good to see you again.
Good to see all of you.
And we have with us Coach Brian Litten, who's also a member of the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association Board out of Dowagiac High School. He is on here with us. Good to see you, Coach Litten.
Hello.
And we have our guest, a man that around the circles of the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association needs no introduction, but he's going to get one. And he's going to get one from his former lifter, Coach Brian Litten.
This is an honor right here to introduce this. So our guest today is the widely respected throughout the state in powerlifting and football and everything. He is the man, the myth, the legend, as Chris Whittaker said, that could solve every mathematician problem there possibly is. And he's the one who originally was before the spreadsheets. He knew it all. He could handle those numbers like crazy. He has won the varsity state championship in the men division for 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2019. I may have been a part of a couple of those teams. So shout out to that. He is also a member of the MHSPLA Board of Directors. He currently serves as the treasurer. His school has been the varsity state meet for several times. Ladies and gentlemen, my mentor, my former defensive line and powerlifting coach, Eric Jennings out of Lake Orion High School.
Hello, everybody.
Eric Jennings. Oh man, that would have been a great time, Gilliam, for me to.
Yeah, there we go. Lots of applause. Lots of applause.
Yeah. Hey, E, welcome to the show. You're the first person we've got to use the sound effect board for.
I feel honored now.
So we're here. We're gonna talk with Coach Jennings. Again, we all love him, and this will be a good one. Learning more about him. So I got the first question, Coach, and the first one is, give us some background information on yourself. Where are you from? Are you married? Do you have any children?
I am not married, have no children, except for all the kids at Lake Orion that I've coached. They're all my kids. But no, I'm actually an Oxford graduate. Then I went to the University of South Florida, and then I moved back and started coaching for what I call my enemy, because Oxford and Lake Orion are rivals. And in 1998, I started coaching in Lake Orion because Oxford didn't want me. And I've been there since 1998, coaching multiple sports and announcing.
The Lake Orion Dragons and Coach Jennings. What are your hobbies besides powerlifting?
Well, it's believe it or not, coaching is my hobby, but it's also my passion, because I never thought I would ever be a coach in anything after I got out of high school and I was going to college. And a friend of mine, his dad got me into coaching, and I got hooked. And the kids that I coach over the last 30 years, it's more than a hobby, but that's what I do all my spare time with. I really don't do anything else but work, and probably in that building in Lake Orion 7 days a week, most weeks, doing something.
Yeah,
I know it sounds crazy, but it is true. Coach Litten will testify to that.
I was going to say, yes, that's true. So
I know when we've had our meetings very many times, he's not at his house. He's at the school. But coaching is not your primary profession, is it?
No, I actually work construction. I work for the Southeastern Michigan largest heavy highway contractor, Dan's Excavating. I've been there for just about as long as I've been coaching. I've been there since 1997. And I was going to work there 6 months, and I've been there 30 years. It's a crazy thing.
The highway construction. What's your responsibilities there? What do you do?
I work in the estimating division. So we estimate any size job from a $20,000 job up to $400 million jobs. We estimate, and so I have at this time of year, especially since the state flower, the orange barrel, is getting back out on the road. No one likes me right now.
I like that state flower.
For sure.
Okay, so we know you like to coach a lot of sports. I know you coach baseball and obviously powerlifting. How did you get involved in powerlifting? Like, was that something you did in high school, or?
Yeah, well, we started another gentleman that was at Lake Orion. Now he's actually the principal at Lapeer High School. But I actually was coaching defensive line with him on the varsity level, and we got started just with powerlifting. And I mean, we started out with 8 kids the first year we did it. And I got hooked into it just because it was something completely different that I've never done before. And then also now you're starting to coach girls at the same time. So it was a completely different dynamic, and I got hooked on it right away because I didn't need the supreme athlete. Anyone could powerlift. long as they're not afraid to try to pick up a bar, we can teach them. And that is what intrigued me about the sport, because I could coach a lot of different kids that I normally wouldn't see on the football field or the baseball field. And that's the uniqueness that I love about it.
Right.
All right, E, can you tell us about your journey with the MHSPLA? How long have you been a board member? How about that one first, and we'll go from there.
I actually can't tell you how long I've been an official board member. It sort of slipped in because the gentleman I was talking to, Jason Larson, was on the board, and then he left Lake Orion to take a principal job in St. Clair Shores, and so he wasn't going to be involved, and I just sort of inherited it, and that had to be, that'd be around 2002, maybe.
Oh,
So I've been on the board for a long time, about 15 years, I would think. I've been around 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. I inherited it from Jason. And it was funny. It wasn't even a vote. It was sort of, I just picked it up. We left off where he had it. And we went from there.
what do you like?
Eric, newsflash. That's like 20 some years.
I know. I can't. I'm a math major. And I can't count. Remember that. I'm trying not to think it's that long. I'm trying to scale back some years on me now.
For sure.
If it makes you feel any better, I was one of your first freshmen to do it. So, me and Zotos.
I know.
So,
matter of fact, I just saw Wardy.
All right. What do you like most about being on the board of directors?
What's intrigued me and what I really like about it is trying to advance the sport. Because it's an ever evolving sport. We're trying to make it more efficient. We're trying to, it's a very, as we all know, it's a very subjective sport at times when you're judging it, when you're looking at it. So we're trying to make it as less subjective, and that intrigues me, and try to make it fair for everybody. And and because it's almost like I feel like it's in the infancy of it, and to be part of that as it's growing, it's different than and I mean, I love coaching football, I love coaching baseball, but you're not having any part of evolving of the sport where right now I do with powerlifting. It's my part of it is I know that I have helped this sport myself doing certain things, and that's I really love that, and I know I've made an impression. So, and that's like I said, football and baseball I coach, and I love coaching it, but I'm not going to be on and making changes in the world of high school football or high school baseball like I can in powerlifting, and to try to evolve the sport.
Well, speaking of changes, what changes have you seen since you first started, and what more changes would you like to see take place?
Well, when as Coach Gilliam will also remember, we when I first started, there was still an equipped division. There was raw and equipped, and so there was those changes. We've now gone to 2 classes of girls instead of just one class, just varsity women. Now it's varsity and JV women. I think that was a huge change for us. The changing how we do the state meets now, I think has been a bonus for us, doing the JV one weekend, the varsity on another weekend, instead of trying to do it in 2 days all at one time. We all done those before. And that's harder than doing it this way. That's obvious. In the future, I think it's more streamlining everything so there's less gray area. That's the hard thing about the sports, because it is subjective. And you trying to get less gray area so everyone is on the same playing field and understands the playing field the same. And I think we actually do a pretty good job overall of trying to do that with our rules, incorporating maybe some rules out of other organizations to see what works best. And I mean, always going to be an evolution. But I think I'm looking forward to seeing how we're going to change it to, I don't want to say modernize it, but it's just making it cleaner and more efficient and less gray area out there every week.
Well, the less gray area we have, the easier it is for people to follow the rules, right? And not leaving it up to interpretation, right? Like that, I'm not a math guy. You are, but that's the way math is. Math has rules.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. For the most part, it does. Yeah. We try to bend them, but it doesn't work.
Just like Star Wars needs to have rules, right, Brian?
Yep.
Like once you go into those other movies where they start breaking all the rules of the Force, that's just
good.
Oh, yeah.
No. No. For the listeners at home, Coach Litten is shaking his head. No, there's no rules. You need to have the rules. All right. So I think I got the next one here. Coach, we all have mentors, right? And who are some of your mentors that you have just in life and since you started here in the association?
When I first started in the association, I'll start with that one. I was greener and green, and there were a couple of people that helped me explain a lot of things about the association. One was Todd Miller. Todd, for some reason, I don't know why to this day, he took a liking to me, and anytime I had a question, I could ask him. And he was definitely one that I looked up to. Also, Sheila Klaus, she helped me a lot also just in the managing of things, like managing a meet, things like that, understanding that. Like the first time I ran a meet, I shadowed for 2 years to try to figure out how to do it the right way. But she guided me a lot in that. So Sheila and Denny were very important. And Todd, they were my biggest mentors in this, getting me going. In life, probably my biggest, it's going to be a weird thing because everyone thinks I'm this gruff coach. And my biggest mentor is my band and choir teacher from high school. He lives in Ludington. He's 84 years old, and I do not make a life decision without talking to him to this day. He got me out of some bad situations when I was in high school. I was going down a bad path. And my stepfather and I didn't get along. My mom was working 2 jobs. She's doing the best she can. And I was just following a bad path. And he grabbed me by the collar and dragged me to get in a good place. So I still, to this day, if I make it a life decision, I talk to him first. Then just run it by him and see what he thinks. He's probably the most important man in my life.
What's his name? Give him a shout.
His name's Lewis Wilson. He taught in Oxford for 30 plus years. He was a band and choir teacher, and then became a counselor. And then one of the things he does now, how he interacts with kids, and that's what I got a lot of the interaction with kids from him. Is when we would in the summer, he would take kids canoeing, and his license plate used to say WCCCCY, Wilson's Crew Can Canoe, Can You? And he would take 3 or 4 kids and you'd go down and either canoe in the Pine River, the El Saba River. And then now the first Friday of August of every year, there is a reunion. There's been 35 reunions, and kids come from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2s, all the way up, and go canoeing on that Friday. And I mean, he'll have 60, 65, 70 people up there canoeing on that day. That's how big of an impact he had. And how I interact with kids is a lot because of him, because of that. And I needed that man, and he, like I said, I would not be here the way I am right now without him.
That's awesome.
We all got those people, man, that changes. And I'm sure, and Brian can probably attest to this, that you've done that for many of your athletes too.
No, for sure.
I try to be there for them.
Well, speaking of your lifters, you've had some great lifters at Lake Orion over the years. Which ones made the most impact on your program, in your opinion? And don't give me the I don't pick favorites saying it's not necessarily your
Yeah,
favorite, but who made the most impact?
it's funny. It's like I'll use like I'll start off with the girls, because as all of us that have started out with this, trying to get the girls program going was tough, because you had to get through the stereotypes that I'm not going to become this if I'm a girl and I lift, and then you have to get through that stereotype. And Maddie Ostentowski is probably one of the ones. She was a lifter. She was a good lifter, but she sort of started it that any female can lift. And it was she was not once they saw that she was lifting and it wasn't wholesale changes and becoming this muscular thing, but she was becoming very lean and very strong, that's when we started getting the girls. So she is probably the number one reason that we've had a pretty solid girls program, and that goes way back when we first started. And it's funny. It's different as we go in years. It's different kids, and like you said, sometimes they're not state champions. Sometimes they have a hard time medaling, but it's the way they lift, and they get in that weight room every day. And well, we'll use an example that Brian brought up. I mean, Zach Zotos was not. If you would have saw him in high school at first, you would thought, okay, this kid is a soft kid. And I think powerlifting changed him, but also other kids saw that okay, it changed him. It changed his attitude, it changed his self-esteem, and he brought a lot of kids along. So those are the kind of kids. I mean, I'll take my state champions. Don't mean give me a Kobe Manzo, give me Tony Thompson, give me Trent Elkins. They were great. And they are great, and they are leaders also. But I think, and I could list 30 of those kind of kids that I was hoping they would finish in 7th place in a meet, but they were the glue to the program, and they kept the program growing to where right now I don't have room for middle schoolers. Because we just don't have room in our weight room, because I have the world's largest weight room. But yeah. I don't have any 7th or 8th graders because I don't have room. But that's a testament to those other lifters that I call the glue, that they're hoping, they're hoping to medal and they're hoping to win, but they're going to give me a 5th or 6th place or an 8th place and score me some points. And I've won state titles by 1 point. That's a 10th place finish. That wins me one. And we did a spreadsheet years ago, Jason Larson and I, about what the state champions. And this is where we sort of focused our group, and that's why we got those kind of kids. State champions are great. Give you 12 points. You win it with 4th, 5th, and 6th places. They eat up points. You give me some 4th, 5th, and 6th across the board, I will win regionals and I will win a state title. It's hard to get 6 first places. Yeah. But I can find 4th, 5th, and 6th place and eat up points.
Good, thanks.
All righty. The growth of the sport has been tremendous over the years as a whole. What sticks out to you most about the growth of it, especially in the MHSPLA?
You're breaking up on me, so repeat that, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. The growth of the sport has been tremendous over the year. What sticks out to you most about the growth of the sport?
The girls division. The girls division. I never, when I first started, when we just had women's, and the explosion of numbers, that's probably the biggest thing. The biggest change is the sheer numbers of girls that lift. That change is humongous. And I mean, so much so that we had to change how we do state meets and had to do two classes instead of one. And they forced us to change a lot because of the numbers. That's probably the biggest change. The biggest change. And also the other thing, and this is going way back, I think it was for the best that we went completely raw instead of raw and equipped. That was the other thing that I think made the sport grow, because now it levels the playing field for the most part. And those are the two biggest changes that I think has helped our sport grow and continue to help it grow.
Agree.
So, Coach, what would you say is the hardest thing to coach or teach in the sport of powerlifting from a technique perspective?
Oof. Boy, that's a good question. Because I got some things in squat. I think it's very difficult to teach, and some things in bench that are just is trying to get them to do it. It's probably for me, and this is for me, is teaching squat so they don't arch their back. All these guys, when they go down, they want to arch their back, and it puts them in a bad spot. We all know that, but they don't want to. They don't think they're flexible enough to actually squat properly, so they try to lower their shoulders to get down lower, and that's not what you have to do. But it's the teaching of that. Sometimes that's where I wish we had it in our weight room, a Smith machine, because that you can teach the basics of that on a Smith machine, where it's up at that kind of up, that more vertical movement. But the only way, since we don't have one, is when I have a kid that's causing a lot of trouble with that, is I have to show them on video. I just have to video it and get them to believe this is actually what they're doing, and try to correct that and it's a simple, most times it's a simple question. I tell them to look at a spot up on the ceiling. Now they have to, but that's probably the hardest thing to get consistently correct for me as a coach. Bench, they don't want to keep the feet on the floor. They want to just flail all over the place, because that's what they do when they're on their own, but that's just harping on them and getting them to be disciplined. So for me, it's in the squat, teaching proper squat. It's difficult. And we all know it's probably the toughest move. It's because there's so much movement with so much weight. It's tough.
Yeah, it's probably the most complex of our three disciplines in powerlifting, for sure.
And we all know that if we run meets, we have that nice sigh of relief once squat's done.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, okay, now we can go.
So I want to talk to you about training concepts a little bit, Eric.
Okay.
Are you a 3-day or 4-day split person when it comes to powerlifting?
If I have my druthers, it's 4. I like 4. Depending, it's sometimes hard with the student schedules, but if it's a perfect role for me, I like 4. I like doing 2 upper, 2 lower, having a day off in between, all that. Don't they have a day of rest in there? If that's a perfect role for me, is that and Brian will attest to this. We did a lot of our lifting when he was lifting, and even further on, our boys lifted before school. So we were in there at 5:30 in the morning, and it was great because, okay, we had Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, except the only time that changed was a meet week. If we were at a meet, we didn't lift on Fridays, but that worked out. Put it this way, the years I won state titles, that's what we did. We were four times a week, and it was the best in my opinion.
Gotcha. So what type of sets and reps do you prefer to use on the squat, bench, and deadlift? Are they similar? Do you vary it up? Explain to
We
us.
try to vary it a little bit. Well, if we're lucky enough to have time, depending on when the meets are, that's the big key. Man, if we all know we don't want to lift, we don't even like to lift 2 weekends in a row, let alone 3. We like to have a week or 2 off in between every meet, just so now you can get them off the max down and work yourself back up. For me, it seems like if we have the flexibility, is we will start out light with multiple reps, go heavy, and then back it down just before the meet. And that seems to me, at least with my kids, it seems to work the best. So they get their heaviness, but now just before the meet, we'll back it down a little bit, and then they're going to be doing multiple reps, so they're working on technique more than mass.
Okay. Awesome.
And we're always at least, most everything is at least 3 sets, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 sets. We very rarely go under 3 sets, just because I'm a believer that your body needs that repetition. It's got to be rote memory for your body. And to me, doing 1 set of 3 or 2 sets of 5 doesn't do it for your body. Your body needs more of that. It needs the regimentation. So I would rather do 3 sets of 5 than 2 sets of 8. To me, 3 sets of 5 is better because it works the body in muscle memory.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. You've hosted the state meet several times at Orion. Who are some of the people who have helped make this happen over the years?
Oh, good Lord. I cannot run my meet. Okay. Now, Brian will attest to this. When I first started running meets, I did everything myself. I didn't trust a soul. By the time we got to the Saturdays on a meet, I was a lunatic but I was trying to do everything. And I had a coach, Kelly Day. And if you all come to my meets, you know Kelly. She runs my floor. She runs my table help. And I am not lying when I say this, she literally threw me against a wall, physically threw me against a wall and say, give me assignments now. You're not doing this anymore. And I went, yes, ma'am. So I delegate. That's the hardest thing for me to do, but I cannot, if she's decided, and she doesn't coach powerlifting anymore because the job at the school doesn't allow it, but she still comes back and runs her meet. Her husband does my mic. He's on the mic, and I can't run a meet without her. If she's not there, I'll cancel the meet. I can't do it. I rely on her too much. Now it's her fault, but I also found out the meet runs better when I have her around, because I don't have to worry about table help. I don't have to worry about judges. I don't set the judges. She does. She sets the judges. She knows who's the head judges. She knows. I'll get the judges for her, and then I don't even know what platforms they're going on. She sets that all up. I'm off doing other things. So like I said, I can't run a meet without her. She's my number one. And if she ever says no more, I'll probably say no more, unless I can really find someone who, and the other person that unfortunately is no longer with us that I relied on a ton was Brian's mother. No, she took care of things I don't want to take care of, like my hospitality room. I don't have time for that. So she ran that for years for me. And I let her go, and all she did was bring me receipts. And I was the happiest guy in the world, and they were great. And she did that for me for years. And I wish I had her back. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I have to find another one like that. And as we all know that we're running meets, you don't want to deal with that. We got too much other work and registration and this and this and this to worry about. Okay, do we got ice and do we have enough food? And no, we don't have time for that. But when his mom was doing that for me, I didn't even look in the hospitality room. I was taken care of. So, as you can see, I need women in my life that run my needs.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
Because I'm a boy and sometimes I don't make the best decisions.
All your people every year at the state meet are always super nice to me, and they do an excellent job. So
I'm blessed. That and our school board president, Danielle Brissett. I'm lucky. I get at least 3 of my school board members every year, sometimes 4. And my superintendent comes every year to the meet. She doesn't work it, but she comes and checks in on it. And for what we call a club sport, I've already got emails from the superintendent when's next year's meet. She wants to put it on her calendar.
Yeah, I talked to her this past year. She was a nice lady.
Yeah,
she
Heidi's
came
awesome.
into the coach's room. We were talking. I had no idea who she was.
Yeah.
We were just talking about stuff. So
yeah. No, I'm lucky with between Danielle and Heidi and a couple others on the board. Because I talked to other places, they can't get their administration to even show up. And my principal, he checks in. Dan, he's like, okay, do you need anything? So I'm very lucky with that. I'm luckier than most places but they take the attitude they want to show the school off.
Yeah.
And people that are coming from a small school, they walk into ours and they're like, their eyes go like this. And I tell them the school, this building's 30 years old. And they're shocked still. But our administration and our school board, they want to show the school off. And so it's helped me tremendously when I host a meet. If I need something, usually I get it because I give them reason. Hey, my facility. One year, the upper bleachers weren't working. We couldn't get them out. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I need those upper bleachers. All of a sudden, someone's coming in overnight to fix them on a Fridays for Saturday's meet. Like I said, I'm very, very blessed with that.
That's great.
The only one that grumbles is our AD. Because he says, I make him stay there all day.
Yeah.
Well, and we're about the only sport that does not use GoFan at Lake Orion. But I don't want to use that because we're just not, our people are not, our schools and our families and our powerlifting families are not used to doing cashless. So he's got to make cash boxes for me for powerlifting. So that he always grumbles about that. The best thing we ever did was he used to hate it when we were charging $2 for kids and everything like that so he had to have all kinds of singles.
Yeah, it's a little easier now.
Yeah, it's a little easier now.
Yeah. Hey, have they? Are we still on the campaign for get Coach Jennings a Lake Orion school email?
We're trying.
They still haven't given you a district email yet?
No, I've only been there 28 years, and And I keep telling them I want one for one reason: transparency.
Yeah.
So everything I do athletically for the school, anything I do for this, it's on that email so they can look at it at any time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's I can't get them yet to do it. It's not administration in the building. It's our emails also are in our, because Oakland schools, they say because I'm technically not a school employee, I can't have a school email. I am an independent contractor. I am not a school employee.
That's silly.
I know.
Start the social media trend. Get Coach E an email.
Yeah, it would be so nice. It would. It's because, again, it's for transparency. They can see every email.
Yep.
I just that's because I'm very, very cognizant of that. That needs to be done. You got to be able to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm in, like, running a meet. I mean, there's lots of money involved in that.
Yep.
And they got to be able to see, okay, this receipt, and I'm doing this, and I'm buying this, and I'm doing it by email a lot. We all do it, and here it is. Now you can see it. I'm not trying to be funny with the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Anything you miss about the old days of the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association, like in the 90s and 2000s?
Well, not a lot, I'll be honest. Because it was completely different. I mean, like when we were, before we went to the scoring program, so we were doing everything on paper. You were hoping that you had a certain schools there because you knew you had help. Like if I was at a meet, let's say, or like if I was going to Whitmore Lake when Lemons was there, I knew I was working the scoring room with his wife, and we could run it in the scoring room with our eyes closed. I missed that little camaraderie with that, because you knew you had certain people that you could work with really well doing that thankless stuff that had to be done. But after that, there's not. The only other thing I miss about the earlier days is we don't go to some schools that we used to go to back then. Like we don't go to Montrose anymore. We don't go to Shepherd. Shepherd was they ran a great meet all the time. It was a nice meet, but they don't do it. I missed that part of it. You go into some different schools, but I think now it's much more efficient. I mean, we're doing on paper. After you're done lifting, you had to wait over an hour before you did awards. Not 3 minutes, an hour. And so that I don't miss that, but I miss not going to certain schools, like I said, like Shepherd, Montrose. I don't miss Vassar.
Oh, come on. I loved Vassar. Oh,
I don't like the 10-hour meet, because that of course was back then when they allowed walk-ins.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we had 500 lifters on 8 platforms.
That was
Because 170 lifters came in at the walk-in.
And then,
I don't miss those days.
if I remember correctly, at that one too, we had a massive snowstorm as we left. I was driving in a little Ford Focus. Oh man, no fun.
Oh yes, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And they expected the lifters to pick up the gym for them.
But
that was their tradition.
Yeah. You remember how they used to put like those gymnastic mats under their platforms too? It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know.
It's not even a stable floor.
No, not at
I
all.
was like,
Getting on a mat.
I prayed my kids didn't get on those platforms.
Yeah.
You know, and
Oh yeah,
it was, and
like,
we're right next to Vassar. There, I usually treated that meet as like if kids hadn't, qualified yet, they hadn't done a meet yet, like that, I would take them. But I rarely took my whole team because it was too often long.
because some of us still might be lifting there because it took so long.
Yeah. And for Bent, it was a money grab, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that's about all I miss. I prefer what we do now. Trust me.
Sure. All right. We know that powerlifting is a sport that's, part of it is failing. Do you have a favorite failure or setback in your life that you feel you learned from it and it put you in a better position to be successful down the road?
I remember a couple of meets before I won my state titles. When I won it 3 years in a row, 8, 9, and 10. We were battling earlier for them, like in 7 and 6. We were close. We had good group of kids, and I take the blame for those 2 years, not for us not being better, and maybe winning 4 or 5 in a row because I wasn't coaching them right. I learned a lot those years coaching them to push themselves, but also having to explain failure in the right way. When they tried and they missed, but they tried. And that's all you ask out of them. They gave your best, and some of them have emotional crashes, we know, and I was not good at fixing that yet. I think I'm pretty good at it now. But it took a couple of years to figure out how to do it, because you have to do it differently with all kinds of kids, obviously. But that was probably the biggest thing I learned from failure, because I coach sports that are failure-based. Baseball is a failure sports-based. I mean, you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're still an all-star in there. I mean, in powerlifting, we fail 7 out of 10 times. We're not scoring. So, but it's same thing with football. If we fumble 7 out of 10 plays, we're going to lose a game. There's no doubt about that. It's the managing of the kids that I think it took a while to figure out how to do that. Between that and also getting them to not be afraid to fail. I remember one kid, and he struggled forever. Devin Sevenhosky was a great lifter for us, but he was just missing qualifying all the time. And Devin was probably a 6'3", 220-pound kid. And he had to pull a deadlift of 435 to qualify for the state meet. He had never qualified. Didn't qualify as a freshman, not as a sophomore, not as a junior. It was his senior year. And he had never even come close to 435, but he had to lift it. And I talked to him, I said, hey, that's just a piece of metal. Let's go. I didn't tell him that you never done it before. All I did was, and he went down there and snatched and pulled that thing right up, got it, and it was easy. But it took me a lot of years to figure out how to trigger a kid like that and get him to not be afraid to make that failure one more time. Yeah. That's as all of us that coach it, that's sometimes a harder thing to get across to the kids is it's all right to fail. You can't, because if I can't succeed if I don't fail sometimes. I mean, if there's no 100% success rate ever, unless we are lifting on air. So we're going to fail. So let's not be afraid to. And sometimes you're amazed what happens when you're not afraid.
Yeah, I mean,
right? It took a while to learn how to teach that to kids. That's for sure.
Yeah, the road to success is paved with failure and mistakes.
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely. Yep. Oh, it's just like I do this sometimes. The kid gets stuck. He's trying to get to a 200 bench or 205, and he's stuck at 195. I end up putting a towel over his head so he can't see the bar. and then I'll let him, and I'll put like 185 on it, and he benches it. And then I tell him, I put the towel on there. I say, we're going to 190, and I throw 205 on it. And he lifts it. And then I take a towel off. I said, okay, there's your 205. And they're amazed.
Yeah.
So, but again, you got to work around the mental part of failure. And that took a while for me to learn that in this sport. I knew it from baseball, but it's different in this sport than baseball. Every sport's unique about what the success and failure are.
All right. Great. Brian?
All right. I can recall this, so this is kind of funny. But do you recall the first time that you hosted the state meet? And what do you recall most about that meet?
Crying a lot. It was chaos. It was, well, and also we had another event at the school at the same time, which didn't help. But that was when we were doing girls on Friday and boys on Saturday. So we were doing 2 days. And if everyone that's been to our school, sometimes if we're hosting another event, because that school doesn't sleep, parking gets a little dicey, but it was so packed. There's a Lutheran church out on M24, the highway that goes past the school, and we had to park people there and bus them from King of Kings to the school. And it's probably a mile away, because we had so many people there for the girls that night and the boys the next day. I was not prepared for that first one. It was mass chaos. And the hard thing back then too is I couldn't even let anyone in the building until school let out. So and if you want to take your life in your hand, come to our school when the school leaves at 2:35. You are taking your life in your hands at times. And I had to wait for all those people, so other people there was a lot going on that weekend. I didn't even go home that night because in my idiocy, I hand wrote every lifter card. So we had the girls. I hadn't started on the boys yet. So we ran the girls' meet, and you're getting done at 11 o'clock. I don't have a lifter card done for the boys. So here I am sitting at the school, handwriting every lifter card for the JV in the morning and the varsity in the afternoon. How I got to do another meet, I don't know. But we got through it. That's for sure.
Stressed out, Eric. My Lord. Who wouldn't be stressed out doing that? What year was that, Eric?
Oh God. I have to go back and look.
It was either 12 or 13. Something.
I want to say 12.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
I know you guys.
I want to say 12.
College. Yeah.
It's been because but that was the first state meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell this to a lot of people that know me in other sports. I am not very picky, and I'm not very about a lot of things. I'm not a very anal retentive person. Like, this has got to be right, except for my powerlifting meets. They have to run well.
Sure.
And it's probably because we've all been at ones that are just disasters. And I refuse to let that happen in my place. And I sometimes, that's why for a long time I did everything myself. And but that's why when I get done with that meet, even last year doing the state meet, I am mentally and physically whipped, just because I want to make sure everything is right. And because we all know, all of a sudden you think you get everything smooth, and here comes something out of left field that's screwing things up, whether it's a flaw in a bug in the program, or your Wi-Fi changes, or you got an issue in the stands or something like that. Something always happens. And so that's probably I tell people I'm not very proud about a lot of things in my life, but I am proud of my powerlifting meets, and they will run well, or I won't run them anymore.
Great.
Well, and they do run well. And we always have fun. That's why we keep going back year after year to Lake Orion.
We're all gluttons for punishment.
Yeah. So
We got
something.
some good restaurant choices for after the meet.
Oh
too.
yeah, yep. Oh yeah, yep.
What was that pizza place we went to this year? We're gonna shout them out.
That's Sick Pizza That's Sick Pizza, yeah.
Sick Pizza.
Sick Pizza, yeah.
Loved
They also
it.
have that's Scott Taylor, who's a school board member. He owns it.
Okay.
So he has that one, and then he has that's actually, they don't call it Sick Pizza. Sick Pizza's in Oxford. He has just a pizza place in Oxford. That's called Sick House, I think it's called, or something like that. But it's because it's actually, I'm going there tomorrow night. At Lake Orion, we are installing a athletic hall of fame. We don't have it, so I'm on the board that since I've been there for 30 years, and we're going to have the meeting at the upstairs in that restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Scott's going to have everything for us. We're going to have our first nominating class of athletes and everything like that. So it ought to be interesting.
That's cool.
My first one is actually the first one I'm nominating is a girl. So a track athlete who ran track in Missouri. Ashley Patton was probably the best athlete pound for pound our school's ever seen.
All right.
Awesome.
You want to start the speed round there, Chris?
Something else
here we go. No.
that we hope E can run efficiently here, and that is the speed set questions, brought to you by Sick Pizza, Lake Orion, Michigan. Tell them that's going to be one free pie, right?
I'll tell Scott that.
What's your favorite lift? Squat, bench press, or deadlift?
Deadlift. I think it's the best lift overall, period.
Do you prefer low bar or high bar squat?
High bar.
Sumo or conventional deadlift?
If I can get kids to sumo, I think it's better. But every kid's different.
Are you a one rep max guy or a multi rep PR guy?
I like multi-rep in preparation for meets just because of the muscle memory. So we do a lot of three rep max on when we're testing, we're everything. I think it's better. I think it gives the kids a better idea that, okay, I know I can do it for 3, so I should be able to do it for 1, and I could probably bump it up a little bit more on 1 in a meet.
Yeah.
Right. Best accessory exercise for the squat. This is the one you said is the struggle of teaching kids to squat.
Yeah, like I said, for me, and all of my coaches will have something different. See, for me, for the squat, just to teach everything, is actually doing it on air with a mirror or a film, and just watching the technique, and you can work on little things, and not worry about equipment. And I mean, if they need something, I put a piece of PVC pipe on their shoulder, just so they can have that. But to me, teaching that, they have to see it more than feel it right now, because they won't believe what they feel. They'll trust their eyes, which it should be the opposite. They should trust what they feel and not what they see, but they're kids. So for me, it's basically doing reps on air and seeing it either on film or in a mirror.
Okay, what about for the bench press? The best accessory exercise for that?
Boy, I'm not a bench guy. I'm not. I think it's for me. It's the like I said. I know at Lake Orion, If I had a bench only meet, we would lose. I will deadlift with anybody. Well, I'll lift a corner. Our kids will lift a corner of a building up and deadlift. God, this is where I let Trenton coach bench. I get away from it.
Yeah, Brian, do you remember some accessories that he would have had you guys do back in the day?
Back in the day would have been any tricep work. When I worked, when it was Jimmy and I, we did a lot of oh my gosh, now I'm losing my mind. But the board bench, we would get the board out.
Board press.
Oh, the tricep bench.
Yeah.
Tricep,
too.
Man, we do that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of tricep depth.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's actually a good one. As long as, for me, they have to do that with enough weight, not really overload it, but if they try to do it just and they're just getting by, and it's a great lift, and we do it. Like I said, we will do it a lot, but they have to have a good amount of weight on the bar, in my opinion, to make that really work the muscles right and the technique correctly with tricep stack.
All right.
And your best accessory exercise for the deadlift?
It's sort of funny. I have found, and I don't know if you want to even call it accessory. Getting some kids for me to really deadlift well with proper technique, I start them with a different lift. It sounds backwards, but it's worked for me with some kids, is you start them with Romanians. Start with Romanians, and then, because that's not as flexible as a movement as you are with a deadlift, a true deadlift. But if they can do that movement, even with very little weight, once they get into a proper deadlift position, it seems they do it much easier. So I work backwards if I'm working with a kid. Again, it's not really an accessory lift. It's actually one lift working the other. It's almost like, to me, it's like when you're teaching cleans, you start out the bottom, work up. I'm working from the bottom, but with not as much flex in the legs, obviously, with the Romanian. And then now we're going to get down either in a conventional or sumo and get at it. And it seemed, for me at least, with my kids that I've worked with, it works better. And it's like I said, it sounds backwards, and for some it would be backwards, but it's worked for me.
I think the Romanian deadlift kind of focuses on the lockout phase of a deadlift.
Yeah.
Essentially. So I think that's a great accessory. I use it a lot as well. So I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, like I said, I'm a deadlift guy. To me, deadlift is the best lift for athletes because it's a power lift. It's all power, and it engages hips, butt, thighs. It engages everything. Core, it engages everything. To me, it's the best lift.
All right. So we're at the end here. We're just to see if anybody has any last questions. One I want to bring up. You talked about some people earlier. A lot of familiar faces. We've been at Lake Orion for a lot of state meets over the years, even though your first one was 2012. It's been our recurring place. Everybody wants it by demand. Who are some of your assistant coaches that have really impacted your powerlifting program? I believe some of them were even lifters for you previously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
you want to name some of those?
Yeah, I'll start out. Well, obviously, we'll start with Jason Larson. He and I sort of started it, and he was, he was, like I said, he was a teacher, English teacher at the school, and then he became a principal. Played football at Escanaba and then Northern Michigan, but he got me involved in it, and we sort of started. Like the first meet we ever ran, he handled everything until meet day, and then I took over for meet day. So he was handling some of the outside stuff. Then Jim Creedus. Jimmy was a football player for us. He played at Northern. I think he still has a Division II record for tackles in a game.
I mentioned that.
But he probably as the most single individual helped our program because of his knowledge. Because he was a strength and conditioning coach at different colleges around the nation after he left Northern, after he graduated. And he completely got our weight room completely redone.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw pictures of our weight room before that it looks now, you would laugh because it was god awful. And he was the impetus of getting all the road racks. I mean, all the different programs in Lake Orion, all the different sports, and our Liquid Lightning swim team and everything, they all contributed money for the racks. Powerlifting paid for everything else, all the dumbbells, all the weights, all the boxes, all the bands, and we still pay for all of that. But he was the one that got it started. And so he's probably the biggest guy. Coach Litten right here is another one because he was with me for years. So he's another one of my glue guys. I mean, I could have him do anything for me. Kelly Day was our girls coach for a long time, and she still helps out. And I got Trenton now, he still holds state records in 242, even though he's skinny now.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine him weighing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Yeah, he was weighing. Yeah, but now, and he's like, for me now, he's taking over the day-to-day of powerlifting at Lake Orion. I'm still taking care of. You almost call me the Jerry Jones of it now, if you want to, but because I was told I had to start backing away a little bit of certain things. So I still run the meets. I mean, that will never change. I won't hand that off, but he runs it, but he does the day-to-day, and he's very, very important to me because he is a product of our, just like Brian, he's a product of our program over the years. So he knows what it takes to compete and to win at a high level. And so that those kind of people, they run it for me. I'm getting too old.
Brian, you want to take the next one?
Well, I mean, are we looking at okay. In your opinion, who is the best male and female lifter ever at Lake Orion High School and why?
The best male, I think, still is Trenton. I think he was the best lifter that we've had that could score, could win at any time. He's still, man, I've had some really, really, really good ones. Really good ones. But he was probably the best single male that I've had. Girls, probably the best one we ever had was Shelby Mishak. And Shelby was in 242 plus. And she could lift. She was a softball player and a power lifter. Her dad was our equipment guy for the football program for years. Her mom is a campus monitor, still here. But Shelby was probably the best female lifter we've ever had. And I've had some really good ones. Maddie Ostentowski. I had Karen and I'm going blank on their last name. Karen and Julia. They were cross country runners, and they were like they would lift in 105 and 114 depending on the time of the year, and they were phenomenal lifters. But Shelby was probably the best I've ever had.
All right. Take us home, Chris.
All right. So I think we've covered a bunch of different topics here with you, E, and get a good rounded view of you and your program and what you do. And really, I think this episode shows why we all love you as a member of our board. And now our whole listening audience gets to know Coach Jennings a little bit more. Do you have any sort of public-facing social media, or does your program have any sort of public-facing social media?
I mean, I used to be really heavy into I have a Lake Orion powerlifting Twitter account. I have a Facebook account. I do a lot of it off my own personal one now. I just find it easier than and I link. Like I said, as soon as I post something on my personal Facebook, it goes right to Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's where the kids get it all.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm out there and anyone can follow me. I don't care. It's because I try to put out positive things. I try to show off my kids. I try to show off the school. Sometimes I try to be smart and intelligent and put a thought-provoking question out there. Because I really love following other coaches, and I don't care what the sport is, and how they coach and how they interact with kids and how they interact. And I just find that fascinating. One of my favorite things to do is I go watch like our basketball coaches coach, because they may be trying to say something that I'm trying to say in powerlifting or in football or in baseball, but they're giving me a different word to say it, and I learn.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly learning. And anytime I learn something like that, I try to put it out there on social media so that kids can see it, because that's the way they see it. They're not doing it any other way. I mean, if the kids see me take a picture right now, they're asking me, "Are you going to put that on IG?" So I know they know it's going to probably end up on Instagram, and I never thought I would be that way, but you have to now. You have to do that to engage your kids.
Yep.
So you can. So I don't try to do any kind of ghost accounts or anything like that. My accounts are out there. You can find me. It's easy. I learned that the first time I did a Twitter account, because our former athletic director had me do a Twitter account just to keep an eye on kids. And literally, I set my account up, and 10 seconds later, I had a kid following me already. It took 10 seconds. One of my players. I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out now. So you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter.
Do you know what the tags are for you?
Let's see. I will tell you. But because I'm old, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can tell you real fast. Instagram is LOHS Coach E. That's Instagram. Twitter is, I think it's the same thing, but I literally, I know it's sad that I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm bringing it up right now.
Coach E's got some pictures of his dog on his Instagram.
Oh
page.
yeah, oh yeah.
I'm a subscriber. Yeah. I'm a follower. I'm a follower of Coach E on Instagram.
Now, yeah. So like, for my Twitter is @LO Coach E.
All right.
So
and Facebook I just have it under Eric Jennings there on Facebook. You can find it. It's there. Like I said, you'll see me cooking food. You're going to see my dogs, and you'll see my kids.
That's awesome.
All my football players, my baseball players, my power lifters. That's what you'll see on it. It's not real exciting,
Well, we appreciate you being on with us tonight, Eric.
I enjoyed it
know
very
you had
much.
a busy day, and looking forward to working alongside you for
We got
hopefully
another
many
year
more
coming
years
up.
to come. So
Yep.
appreciate
Another
you.
year coming up. Now we all can get a little rest before that season starts again.
Yeah,
Except for all of us that coach football, we don't get rest.
right.
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
we have the last day of school the 9th of June, and our first camp is the 10th of June.
Nice, man.
Mm-hmm. We're the
Yeah.
same one. We're the same way. We start camp before school gets out.
We did that a couple years. I wish we would do it again because now you don't lose any kids. We used to do it after school, like the last week and a half of school. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so yeah, we'll be that 10th. Will be 8 o'clock in the morning, out on the field.
And so it begins another trip around the athletic sun for Coach E.
Exactly. We've earned another trip around.
Brian, any last things for Coach E?
Coach E, it's just been an honor to get to know you a little bit more here. And then, trust me, as one of your former players, you've made a big impact on my life. So I appreciate you.
And you didn't tell any secrets about me. I appreciate it. You know some.
Wait, we haven't stopped recording yet. I mean, we.
No, that's for another time.
Another episode.
That would be entertaining.
Coach E, underground. Well, until that episode, this has been the platform where the stories weigh a ton. Well, that does it for our conversation with Coach Eric Jennings of Lake Orion High School, here on a platform where the stories weigh a ton. Big thanks to Coach Jennings for giving us a look inside more than 2 decades of coaching, competing, building programs, running meets, and helping grow the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association. And thank you to Coach Brian Litten for joining Coach Gilliam and myself and giving us the perspective of somebody who went from being one of Coach Jennings' athletes to coaching and serving alongside of him. There were a lot of lessons in this one, but one of the biggest might be the simplest. Don't be afraid to fail. Whether it's an athlete starting at a weight they've never lifted, a coach building a program from 8 kids, or somebody trying to run a state meet and realizing they can't do everything themselves, you learn to adjust, you surround yourself with good people, and you keep moving forward. If you got something out of this episode, make sure you are subscribed, you leave us a review, you share the episode with another coach, lifter, athlete, or parent who needs to hear it. And while you're supporting the show, head over to the MHSPLA Fourth Wall shop at mhspla-shop.fourthwall.com and pick out your official MHSPLA and the platform podcast gear. As always, if you have a guest or want to hear from, or a question you want answered, or a topic you want us to tackle, send it to info@mhspla.com. Thanks again to Coach Jennings, Litten, and Coach Gilliam. Until next time, I'm Chris Whittaker. This has been The Platform, with the stories weigh a ton.
Bars chopped up, clocks counting down. Another early morning in a small town gym right now. Steel on sleeves, heart in your hands. Every rep, every meet, building Michigan's strongest plans. Welcome to the platform, where the stories weigh a ton. Squat, bench, dead, we rise as one. Michigan's lifters, this is our home. Turn it up, feel that foam. This is the platform. Bus rides, late nights, singles in the duffel bag. White lights, red lights, every call, every flag. From the first warm